Thanks for the gift. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Abyss Floor 112. Now, I know it looks like I'm not doing that right now, but to be efficient, I'm getting my dailies done at the same time. Listen, this is how you win the game, okay? Now, 112, when I said it was a gift, I meant it. If you haven't gotten a chance to see our Abyss Guide videos for 109 and 110, we are going to be using a very similar team to that particular one in the way that we're going to try and get lots and lots of dual attacks, lots and lots of extra defense breaks, and just kind of slam through this content, almost cheesing it. But first, let's take a look at the team. So as with other comps prior to this one, we're back to using Tamarinne. Tamarinne is just phenomenal for this particular floor, especially when we talk about dual attack cycling. She is going to be giving you that S3 to give yourself nice heals, attack buffs, you're going to get dual attacks when you have to use the S1 when she's on her S3. She's got the heals that you're going to need for it anyways. There's just so much about this character that is just so busted when it comes down to it. You'll note that I put her on Wondrous Potion Vial. A lot of that is because we're cycling so much that she is actually able to just like get rid of a lot of the debuffs that end up showing up, which the miss debuffs, particularly on Taranor Guard, are pretty annoying, but we'll talk about him in just a second. You will note that we're also wearing the same gear other than that change out of the artifact as we were wearing in 111. And the reason why is, again, higher effect resist is going to equal less debuffs that are going to hit me as well. So that way that Wondrous Potion Vial can do work on the rest of the team. Also similar to last time, we're going to be using Adventurer Ras. Again, same gear as before. We do have that high effectiveness. Trying to land those defense breaks as consistently as we possibly can is always just going to be helpful. We did go with Aureus again, mostly just for a little bit of mitigation, but for the most part with this team, mitigation's not going to be super necessary, but hey, you better to be safe than sorry, right? So it doesn't really hurt. Again, the S2 for the dual attacks, same as with Tamarinne, having those dual attacks is really, really nice. Also having a defense break attached to it is amazing. Very rarely, I think, are we going to find ourselves using the S3 in this particular situation because you really don't want to hit Lilias, but we'll talk about that here in just a second. Yeah, really, it's just about being fast, having a little bit of chunk so he can kind of just stand there, and then having the effectiveness to make sure to land those defense breaks is going to make him a really solid choice. Next up in the team, we have Kitty Clarissa. You'll note for the very first time, we're actually getting to use Warhorn. That's a new artifact since these new Abyss floors have come in. It does add a lot of attack percentage as well as some combat readiness push, which is amazing. Especially for the dual attacks and everything else here, she's incredible. She's like the character that makes this very, very doable. With her S3 being able to essentially cleanse off debuffs, as well as being able to give loveliness so that she's able to just continue cycling with the Taranor Guard and just have more and more dual attacks. She's a phenomenal choice for this particular floor. She does have an AoE in her S2, and again, just like with Ross, we don't want to use the AoE for this particular floor, but there would be definite use for this in other formats. Once you kind of take a look at the gear, you're going to kind of see that she has 16,000 health, 1,400 defense, good amount of chunk there, good speed. And we do have a tiny bit of effect resist, but for the most part for her, we're really just trying to get her fast so that we're getting more and more dual attacks and cleanses. Finally, to round out this team, we're going to use Taranor Guard, which we've mentioned a couple different times, but here's why. The character has a defense break on the S1 that has a pretty high chance to proc, and with the amount of dual attacks that you're doing, the chances go up and up and up from there. As much as effectiveness is important for this particular build, I would say it's not as important as honestly just having as much damage as possible, because like I said, you're going to get so many attacks that the chances of you landing what you need are actually pretty high. Note to self, I'm using that rage set again that I was using on Spectre Tenebria. It's still not very good, and it really shows through on Taranor Guard. Like, we have less than 3k attack. Our crit hit damage is only 271. It's not amazing. I mean, we do have a little bit of effectiveness there with 65%. It's super mediocre. I ended up putting on Victorious Flag just to get myself a little bit of extra damage, because again, this is a blue unit into a red boss, so that's actually kind of useful there. But yeah, Taranor Guard is going to be your damage dealer for this one, and you're just going to keep cycling him, and that's what's going to make him really good. So let's move into the way this fight's going to work, and you'll kind of get an idea of kind of what that looks like. So jumping into the battle, the first thing that you're going to see is a spearhead and 3 cannons. This phase is actually identically like utilized in the second phase with Lilias. So let's just talk about phase 1 first. The reason that we're using this team is because we want to get nice dual attacks on single target things. So why are we using Taranor Guard? Because everything he does is single target, which is perfect. So with your Kitty Clarissa, you're going to S3 and then you're going to constantly S1. The S2 does AoE, so ignore it. Don't use the S2 at all here. And anytime that you're able to S3 with Kitty, make sure you do that so that way you're always getting loveliness and always have the ability to dual attack with your S1. Same thing with Ras. Ras is going to be using like a burn. If you can burn as often as possible on his S2, also gives dual attack, also has a chance to defense break, which is super nice. And then similarly with Tamarinne, if you need a heal, heal. If you need to just attack because you don't have a heal up, just attack, but single target, obviously. The only time that it's okay for you to AoE is when you're literally every other time with the S3 on Tamarinne, mostly because you really don't have any other option around it. You just kind of have to. But for the most part, everything else is not AoE, and you are getting a dual attack in that, so it's still really good. The basic gist of this particular fight is you're going to try and just defense break and kill all of the cannons. You kill them all down. It gets rid of the invulnerability on the Spearhead. Spearhead, then you put all of the damage into. Once they use their S3s, both the Spearhead and the Lilias, it will actually bring back the cannons for her. And you'll see here in phase 2 what happens with Lilias. Just kill the cannons a second time and literally rinse and repeat until the boss is dead. After you've done phase 1, you'll be into phase 2 with Lilias. Lilias will have 3 gunners. They will have a 1, a 2, and a 3 over their heads. It shouldn't matter which ones you kill in order. I just chose to go with 1, 2, and 3 in that order. This was a one-shot kill, so it's really like it was very, very, very clean. You're going to be doing the exact same thing that you did in phase 1 in phase 2. Just keep dumping single target damage into each one of them individually. Once that's down, Lilias will be able to then take damage. You do the same thing to Lilias. Anytime that you hit Lilias, she is going to actually boost herself. So that's why you want to make sure that you're always using single target attacks when you're attacking all the mobs. Long story short, guys, when I said this was a gift, this is like straight the easiest thing that I have seen in such a long time to be getting for 112. It's a very nice reprieve, especially if you've been climbing a lot of Abyss lately. So kind of just take it for what it is. Enjoy it. If you don't have Kitty Clarissa, another option for you might be to use somebody like Lilias. Lilias is definitely not as consistent because you don't always guarantee that the highest attacker goes with her dual attacks. And also her S3, even though it does have a cleanse, which is nice for getting rid of some of the debuffs that you're going to have, it also is an AoE, so it's going to push the enemy Lilias as well. So she's a usable character. It is something else just for some extra ideas. But for the most part, the rest of this team is extremely easy to get, especially for a free-to-play player. And if you're lucky and you happen to have a Kitty Clarissa, it's also pretty easy there too. So that's pretty much it, guys. 12 is done. Congratulations. You guys just got a 5-speed speed set piece, which I don't think can roll bad almost at all. And so if it rolls really well, you're super lucky. If it rolls even mediocre, you still probably got a new piece that's actually going to be usable for your account. So pretty awesome. That's going to be really amazing for everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We're Level Up Together. We normally stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, so hope to get to see you there. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe here too, because it helps us a lot, especially with the algorithm, making sure that people are like engaging and being a part of this, and so it really helps us out a lot, and we would super appreciate that. And would love to have you guys be part of the day-to-day community with us on Twitch. So love you dudes. We will have more guides coming. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.